One of the most famous officers from the Azov regiment, Bogdan Krotevych, known by his call sign Taurus, has sparked a storm of reactions in Ukraine with an interview with the publication Ukrainskaya Pravda, in which he severely criticizes the military leadership and the strategy for waging the war against Russia. According to Fakti media outlet, Krotych states that Ukraine will not achieve victory just by exhausting the enemy and killing more Russian soldiers. I am categorically opposed to the idea that if we simply kill more Russians than they kill us, we will win. No, we will never win like this. This is not a strategy, but a path to nowhere. We must become smarter, stronger, act more effectively, and not just count bodies. In a conversation with journalists from the publication, Krotevych emphasizes that after 2 years of fierce fighting, Ukraine needs not only weapons and ammunition, but also a profound change in the way the army is commanded. According to him, the prolonged war has exhausted the soldiers and has shown that the existing structure works by inertia and punishes initiative. The officer from Azov openly declares that it is time for changes in the high command and indirectly criticizes the commander-in-chief, General Alexander Syrsky. The army cannot be a pyramid of fear in which initiative is punished, not encouraged. We need people who think ahead, not up, Krotevych said. He added that the army's goal should not be just to destroy the enemy, but to protect the lives of its own soldiers by developing more flexible and intelligent methods of conducting combat operations. When a state sets a goal to kill more enemies, instead of building a system to protect its people, this is no longer a strategy, but a statistics of losses, he said. The interview sparked a lively discussion in Ukrainian media and social networks. Some in the public accepted his words as a voice of frontline realism coming from a man who had survived captivity and years of heavy fighting, while others saw them as dangerous public criticism at a time when Kiev is striving to preserve internal unity. Recall recently in the Dobropilya sector, Ukrainian defenders repelled another massive Russian attack in an attempt to take the village of Kharkiv. According to the press service of the 1st Corps of the Azov National Guard, Russia launched an assault using 16 armored vehicles, including infantry fighting vehicles, multi-purpose light armored tractors and tanks. Russian troops attempted to break through AFU defenses toward Mirnorad and Razin, focusing their main effort on capturing the village of Kharkiv. During the battle, Ukrainian units destroyed 9 infantry fighting vehicles, 4 armored personnel carriers, 3 tanks and 3 motorcycles. Russian permanent losses amounted to 78 soldiers. Azov reported that Russian forces again employed their usual tactics. Motorcycles led the first wave, followed by armored vehicles carrying infantry. Using electronic warfare systems to suppress Ukrainian drones, Russian troops tried to move infantry into settlements to establish footholds, but the assault was completely thwarted thanks to pre-mined territory and coordinated actions of artillery, National Guard units, unmanned systems, and other AFU forces. US President Donald Trump is moving closer to a decision to supply Kiev with Tomahawk cruise missiles, a move strategically designed not only to bolster Ukraine's defense, but also to encourage hesitant European allies to follow suit. We are talking in particular about Germany and its Taurus missiles. This is what the Kiev Post wrote, citing knowledgeable sources. It is noted that this pressure is already leading to some diplomatic shifts, as German Chancellor Friedrich Merz announced that he will talk to Trump about joint efforts to also help end the war in Ukraine. This strategic maneuver will culminate in a summit in Washington. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenski is scheduled to visit Trump at the White House on Friday as part of a trip focused on securing critical capabilities, the article states. One source also told the publication that Zelensky's visit to the United States will also focus on discussing Ukraine's potential role in the United States' domestic missile defense strategy. The connection is part of Trump's vision for the Golden Dome for America Missile Defense Initiative, a program designed to modernize U.S. defenses against all types of air threats, including hypersonic missiles amid growing threats from nuclear adversaries such as Russia, China, and North Korea. The publication writes, "The sources explained that the Tomahawk decision therefore concerns not only foreign aid but also the integration of Ukraine's military struggle into a broader, forward-looking American security strategy." As Glenn Howard, president of the American think tank Saratoga Foundation, explained, the Tomahawk debate is a calculated escalation with several goals, specifically aimed at preventing Russia from waging war. "I believe Trump is using his recent actions in Gaza to aggressively renew the maximum pressure campaign against Russia. He's likely even inviting President Zelensky to publicly announce the transfer of Tomahawk cruise missiles," Howard said. He suggests that Trump's previous statement was a final warning to Putin, with which the US president was hinting, "I told you so, but you decided not to pursue peace." If the US provides Ukraine with Tomahawks, this will undoubtedly increase pressure on Germany, which is still resisting the delivery of Taurus missiles, the expert believes. He also believes that this step significantly changes the strategic landscape, especially in relation to the Kerch Bridge and its future. The main catalyst for Washington's policy shift is the growing humanitarian catastrophe in Ukraine, which is the result of Russia's massive airstrikes on the eve of winter, said Yuri Boyechko, CEO of the American non-profit organization Hope for Ukraine. He emphasized the brutality of the strikes, saying they were not random but rather a clear, well-thought-out military strategy aimed at creating a large-scale humanitarian catastrophe. The attacks are specifically targeting power plants, substations, and gas infrastructure. This is a horrific tactic aimed at cutting off heat and electricity to millions of families across Ukraine, particularly in large cities like Kiev and Odessa, just when winter temperatures begin to drop, explained Boyechko. Washington may provide between 20 to 50 missiles, according to a Financial Times story. An unnamed Ukrainian official said Kiev believes the US president is closer than ever to a decision on missile deliveries. At the same time, the White House leader has made it clear that he has not yet made a final decision. According to the Financial Times, if Trump decides to sell the weapons to NATO allies, who would then transfer them to Ukraine, it would be the most significant military support from the US president. People familiar with the talks said Trump's positive change of heart was due to growing frustration with Putin. A former Pentagon official, Mark Kanzian, estimated during a recent military exercise that the US has a total of 4,150 Tomahawk missiles. However, the states will likely only be able to supply Ukraine with a few of those missiles. Defense experts say this is because more than 120 of the 200 missiles the Pentagon has procured since 2022 have already been fired. Furthermore, in its 2026 budget, the U.S. Department of Defense requested funding for only 57 additional Tomahawk missiles. FT suggests that Washington will likely also require Tomahawk missiles for any possible strike on Venezuelan territory.